Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Tiraye Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Ruttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki. Is reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 5, Chapter 1, the activities of Maharaj Priyavrata, and Shloka number 21. Bhagavan api manuna yatavat upakalpita pachitihi priyavrata naradayor aishva abhishamam abhisam ikshamanayor atmasam avasthanam avan manasam kshayam avavritam pravartayan agamat. Okay. So we will read the word-to-word meaning directly. Bhagavan, the most powerful Lord Brahma, Api, also, Manuna, by Manu, Yatavat, as deserved, Upakalpita Apachitihi, being worshipped, Priyavrata Narada Yoga, in the presence of Priyavrata and Narada, Avishamam, without aversion, Abhisamikshamaanayoho, looking on, Atmasam, just suitable for his position, Avasthanam, to his abode, Avak Manasam, beyond the descriptions of mind and words, Shayam, the planet, Avyavahritam, extraordinarily situated, Pravartayan, departing, Agamat, returned. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada. Jai Shri Prabhupada. Translation. Lord Brahma was then worshipped by Manu, who respectfully satisfied him as well as he could. Priyavrata and Narada also looked upon Brahma with no tinges of resentment. Having engaged Priyavrata in accepting his father's request, Lord Brahma returned to his abode, Satyaloka, which is indescribable by the endeavors of mundane mind or words. Purport. Manu was certainly very satisfied that Lord Brahma had persuaded his son Priyavrata to take the responsibility for ruling the world. Priyavrata and Narada were also very satisfied. Although Brahma had forced Priyavrata to accept management of worldly affairs, thus breaking his vow to remain brahmachari and completely engage in devotional service, Narada and Priyavrata did not look upon Brahma with resentment. Narada was not at all sorry that he had been frustrated in making Priyavrata a disciple. Both Priyavrata and Narada were exalted personalities who knew how to respect Lord Brahma. Therefore, instead of looking upon Brahma with resentment, they very feelingly offered him their respect. Lord Brahma then returned to his celestial abode, known as Satyaloka, which is described here as being impeachable and being unapproachable by words. It is stated in this verse that Lord Brahma returned to his residence, which is as important as his own personality. Lord Brahma is the creator of this universe and the most exalted personality within it. His lifetime is described in Bhagavad Gita 8:17 as Sahasra Yuga Paryantam Aharyat Brahmano Viduhu. The total duration of the 4 ages or 4 yugas is 43 lakh years, and when that is multiplied 1,000 times is equal to 12 hours in the life of Brahma. Therefore, we cannot factually comprehend even 12 hours of Brahma's life, to say nothing of 100 years that constitute his entire lifetime. How then can we understand his abode? The Vedic literatures describe that in Satyaloka there is no birth, death, old age, or disease. In other words, since Satyaloka is situated next to Brahmaloka or the Brahman effulgence, it is almost as good as Vaikuntha Loka. Lord Brahma's abode is practically indescribable from our present status. Therefore, it has been described as Avan Manasa Gochara, or beyond the description of our words and imagination of our minds. The Vedic literatures thus describe the abode of Lord Brahma, yet vai paradhyam tad uparameshtyam na yatra shoko na jara na mrityur nartir na chodvegaha. In Satyaloka, which is situated many millions and billions of years away, there is no lamentation, nor is there old age, death, anxiety, or the influence of enemies. Om Ajnana-timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshuranmilitam Mena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Mena Bhutale Swayam Rupaha Kadamakyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guraho Shri Yuga Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya eva cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. So here we study this first time. So where we see that Priyavrata Maharaj has already been convinced by Lord Brahma to take up the worldly management, and he wanted to remain a brahmachari, and for a long time he had already practiced the oaths of celibacy. So but then there was no ruler that was present at that point in time. So his father Manu, he tried to convince Priyavrata Maharaj to take the rulership, but he was not successful. So then later on Lord Brahma had to intervene, and then he convinced. So after this, what happened is that Manu Maharaj is respectfully worshipping Lord Brahma, and as it befits the great personality within this universe. So we see that even a chief minister comes, or somebody very important comes. So there is all arrangement that is there. Like the city roads are made very nice, and if there is any infrastructure fault is there, so they'll repair everything. And long pending projects of laying roads and things like that, everything will happen. And then with all the pomp, so the chief minister or prime minister, all these people are respected. So now we see Brahma is the PM of the whole. More than that, so these ministers, they come after so much of generations of good work has been done. So now they are taking this one to a next level. So that is their job. But Brahma, he created everything. He did everything, and then he is maintaining also to great extent. This is all portions of maintenance, where how the rulership will continue and things like that. So it's not just Vishnu ji only maintains. So Brahma also has to do a lot of work actually. So it's not that after creation just go to sleep and nothing else to do. So it's not like that. So they also have to do a lot of work. And we see even here also we see that So most of the work is interpersonal. you know. So या तो दो devotee के बीच में problem हो गया. नहीं तो like we see that Prithu Maharaj and Indra had some tension, and Vishnu comes and sets right. And then here also we see that somebody is not willing to do his service. And then Brahma is coming and convincing him, saying that no, ऐसा नहीं बोलना चाहिए, service करना चाहिए. So it may be Jadu Pocha, or it may be giving a class, or it may be ruling the whole world, whatever it is. So service is a service. So this person, he wants to not do the service, what has been told. So and Brahmaji is coming, trying to convince him. So but after doing this convincing, so now nicely he's been worshipped. And then another important thing, if you see, there is different things that are seen, like what is it? Huh? Okay, so when a particular thing is described, particular pastime is described, scene is described, so what is being described is very, very important. So in different literatures, different things are highlighted and described actually. So, but then here we see in Srimad Bhagavatam, some very important aspects are described. So the goal of Srimad Bhagavatam is Krishna, Supreme Personality of Godhead, and how to develop intense attraction to Krishna. So that is the goal of Srimad Bhagavatam. So Srimad Bhagavatam is always seen that it is the greatest literature for the Vaishnavas, and this gives us very nice attraction towards the Supreme Lord. And every aspect that is described here, so in this one shloka, we may see that what is it to do with Krishna and what is it to do with developing attraction to Krishna. So one very important point is there. So Priyavrata and Narada looked upon Brahma with no tinges of resentment. So that means unko bura nahi laga. So they both were, Priyavrata was determined to be a brahmachari, and then Narad Muni was instructing in those lines, and then he is trying to help that particular person in a particular way. So we see that sometimes this happens in temple. Sometimes donors come, and then some devotees are cultivating them. Another devotee goes and asks for some Lakshmi from him. So the other devotee comes and says, Prabhuji, this is my donor. How can you speak to him? So, like that. So, and then we see in the preaching also, this is a boy whom I am cultivating. So how can another person come and preach to him? This is not fair. So, especially somebody senior comes and preaches, so that should not be taken very this one. So, in fact, a devotee should be very happy that my senior actually came and spoke with this person whom I am cultivating. So here the very same thing is seen here. So Narad Muni and Priyavrata, so they are very happy, and they are not feeling anything bad that Brahmaji came, and then they had a plan, and all that plan was changed. So they are not having any resentment. So this is a very important quality. If we want to advance in Krishna consciousness, so these qualities, what is mentioned in different places of Srimad Bhagavatam, so they are very, very essential. So because Krishna is not attracted to, Krishna is not willing to reveal himself, just like that. So if this quality is not there, and we are taken back to Godhead, and then something we are about to do, and somebody comes and does something else, and then we are not able to achieve that. So udhar gussa ho gaya to Vaikuntha mein problem ho jayega. So that is why this training is there, where we are shown, okay, these are the people who are very dear to Krishna, and these are the Mahajans, and they wanted to do something, and another Mahajan comes, and then he changes. So now what happens there? Fight happens, or what happens? So why these people are Mahajan is not because they didn't have any difference of opinion. They have difference of opinion, but when difference come, they are ready to give up their opinion. So that is a very, very important thing. So such people, Krishna very happily takes them back to Godhead, because in Vaikuntha there is no kunta, there is no misery, there is no disagreement, there is no quarrel and chaos and things like that. So this is very, very amazing quality, that we can actually see here. So there is no resentment, when this, like Priyavrata and Narada are like completely okay, Having engaged Priyavrata and accepting his father's request, Lord Brahma returned to his abode, Satyaloka, which is indescribable by the endeavors of mundane mind and words. So that's the next portion of purport that Prabhupada is focusing on. So now let's try to read the purport. So Manu was certainly satisfied that Brahma had persuaded his son Priyavrata to take the responsibility for ruling the world, and like Priyavrata and Narada are also satisfied. So this is quite difficult, as I was mentioning this, like quite difficult to achieve this kind of thing in our level of devotees. So where two people are having disagreement, that means like two different strong opinions are there. So if we accept one of the opinion, the other person will think that no, why you have put me down? And if every time like we are not accepting their opinion, so then why always me only? Every time I am only asked not to, I am only asked to give up. This is a classic situation, right? So and Priyavrata and Narada, here they seem to be satisfied. So why this thing is there? Because of like Brahma being their authority, Brahma being their father, and things like that. So they are completely okay that Brahmaji came and did this thing. So this is okay. This will be like the will of the Lord. So they are taking it in that way. Right? And although Brahma had forced Priyavrata to accept management of worldly affairs, thus breaking his vow to remain brahmachari and completely engage in devotional service, Narada and Priyavrata did not look upon Brahma with resentment. Narada was not at all sorry that he had been frustrated in making Priyavrata a disciple. Right? So, they didn't argue with the Lord Brahma saying that, so you are accepting Manu's this one request, you have rejected our request, that means you don't like us. So they're not thinking like that. So whatever you do will be good for me. They are actually thinking in that way. So what happens is many times the opinions that we possess is very dear to us, or maybe like it is not that much dear, but when there is a conflict comes, the opinion becomes very dear. Till then that was a normal opinion. So, but then when we try to see that other person's opinion is granted and our opinion is not granted, then we feel like this person actually disrespected me. If they are superior, then we think that this person actually don't like me. They are simply like he just want to extract some service out of me, and that is all. So, but here we see that Narada and Priyavrata, they are completely able to understand that Brahma is wanting their spiritual benefit and wanting their interest, and whatever he is doing is for their benefit only. Right? Therefore, instead of looking upon Brahma with resentment, they very feelingly offered him their respects. So Lord Brahma then returned to his celestial abode known as Satyaloka. So this we see that it's not just externally ठीक है वो तो हमारा काम नहीं बना क्या करें ये तो superior है इसको तो respect देना पड़ेगा. No, it is not like that. So they very feelingly offered their respect. So they feel themselves very much dependent upon upon Lord Brahma. So he being their superior. So like that. So one aspect is we may not be able to expect in the intermediate levels of leadership, we may not be able to expect such levels of surrender by the subordinates, and that is not ideal also. So because here Brahmaji is an accomplished person, he is a liberated personality, and he is in sync with the Lord. So he expecting or people offering him such respect is quite befitting actually. So in the intermediate levels of leadership, we may be of different levels of advancement, and expecting such levels of surrender from one's subordinate is also not very practical. It is not this one. Out of immaturity, sometimes this may happen that devotee demands a lot of surrender, and out of immaturity, sometimes a devotee gives too much respect than a person actually deserves. So that is also a point to be noted here. So here always we see that we always try to give the respect because somebody is superior, so we try to give them respect. and not expecting that everybody must be liberated. Like this person is a superior, that means like he'll have, he has realized Krishna, he is like attained this one, he is pure devotee and things like that. That's like a very what is that? Very unreasonable expectation out of a intermediate leader. So intermediate leader is like a kind of, he is also a struggling sadhaka. So but then like he is more advanced than me. So like I try to respect him and try to work with him. And then when there is a disagreement, so we can respectfully put forward, saying that okay, this is like you have mentioned this particular thing. So but then I feel this particular thing is right. So how to understand this? So we should have this kind of question, not challenging question, but a respectful question. So there should be an exchange of respect, but there may not be a complete absolute surrender like how Priyavrata Maharaj and Narad Muni is telling. Is actually making. So because Lord Brahma is a liberated soul, so he can actually accept such like complete surrender from his people. So but the intermediate leaders, so they may not be able to accept such levels of complete surrender. So even if somebody offers, so they should be completely clear that it is not within my powers. I have to pass it on to a liberated person. So who will actually accept this surrender, right? So we should know our position, and accordingly, like we should accept, right? And then yeah. So here the next topic that goes into is the celestial abode known as Satya Loka. So Lord Brahma's Loka is called Satya Loka, and sometimes it is called as Brahma Loka also, because it is close to the Brahma Loka. So Brahma Loka means the abode of Brahman. So the Brahman effulgence which is there. So that is generally called as the Brahma Loka. And Lord Brahma's planet is also sometimes called as Brahma Loka, right? So but in general their name is Satya Loka, and which is described here as impeachable and being unapproachable by words. So that's like almost the glories of Brahma Loka. If you see, it's almost like Vaikuntha Loka only. So there is no miseries that exist over there, and there is no old age, there is no disease, there is no birth with old age and disease is not there. So if they die, means if the universal destruction happens, they'll all go back to Godhead. That's all, Or sometimes some people may actually fall down, to come to this one. But in the period of existence, of the whole universe, nobody is dying over there, or nobody is taking birth over there. So people may get promoted and come there, so enter into, so but not like birth, death, old age and disease. That is not there. So it is like completely a very different kind of environment. So then we see that, then we ask this question that Brahma Bhavana Loka Punaravartino Archana. So all these places are places of birth, death, old age and disease. So for us, what is birth, and for them what is birth is completely different. So for example, in one lecture I was hearing that when Brahma had wrong thought upon his own daughter, so then he was feeling shameful, and he gave up his body. So for him, giving up his body is like his body is made of full pure intelligence, and giving up the thought itself is like no death, itself is like giving up the body. So their position is like completely different, So for them, the birth and death doesn't take place as we know of, as birth and death. So it is completely in a very, very high plane, in a very subtle plane. Things actually works over there. So generally, this is exception. Birth, death, happens, out of exception, not out of regularity, what it happens here in the this one, Bhuloka. So these places are very much immune to those things. Even if we hear about the descriptions of heavenly planets, so people don't become old over there. They will remain as youth throughout their existence in the heavenly planet. So and always they'll keep enjoying, and their bodies in the perspiration, they don't smell bad like the human beings here. So the perspiration is also scented. So their position is completely different, right? So we see that Krishna is telling that Brahma Bhavana Loka Punaravartana Arjuna. So the whole material planet, from Brahma Loka down till Patal Loka. So all the planets are places of like punaravirti, like places of coming back, so that is what he mentions. So, but if we see the birth, death, old age and disease, they are prominent in the lower system, so in the higher planetary system, you will not find such kind of birth, death, old age and disease. So in fact, like just two levels up, we go like old age is removed, old age only, and then you go a little more like So all these things become very very subtle, and no, it is not that painful as it is there, in the lower planetary systems. So it is stated in this verse that Lord Brahma returned to his residence, which is as important as his own personality. So Lord Brahma is the creator of the universe and he is the most exalted personality within it. So in one way, if we see, like we see that in this, how to understand Brahma's position. So like we have this body and we are the soul in this, and there is super soul is also there in this body. So in the same way, Brahma has this universe, it's almost as good as his body, and like the Garbhadaksha Vishnu is the super soul of this universe. So this body is like, for us, like we don't know like what all things happening within this body, but Brahma perfectly knows what all things happen within the universe. So he has much more higher control of the universe than the control that we have over our body. So it's like that kind of a person, like he's very very exalted person, and even after having such a thing, like he is completely detached. What is Brahmaji doing? He is completely detached from this world, and he is just trying to provide facilities for the living entities to like according to their nature. So Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra. So according to their natures, everybody may get some engagement, and ultimately how these people will go back to Godhead. That is this one. So we see that this is like very important. What is it? Very very important personality, and it's and he in the third canto of Bhagavatam we see that like Brahmaji actually particularly prays that after the creation, all this, all my children, they are all like the moment I created, everybody are busy with sense gratification. How will they be able to achieve liberation, or how will they be able to develop this devotional attitude? So that is the anxiety of Lord Brahma. So and he is actually trying to do that thing, do that good welfare to all the people of the whole creation. And then Prabhupada always mentions about this Lord Brahma's lifetime. 4,32,000 years is the Kali Yuga, and 10 times of that is the this one duration of the 4 yugas. So why 10 times? Because Kali Yuga 2 times is Dwapara, and 3 times is Treta, and 4 times is Satya Yuga. So 4 plus 3 plus 2 plus 1 is 10. So 10 times of 4,32,000 years is like 1 Divya Yuga, like, or 1 Chatur Yuga. So like that 1,000 times of that is 1 day of Brahma, and equivalent of that is 1 night of Brahma. So this is something that is described in Bhagavad Gita, and Prabhupada often quotes this particular thing. And this itself, the lifetime itself is such that it is very very difficult for us to imagine. Somebody can live for such long period of time. And Prabhupada uses a nice argument. If the lifetime of a person who is residing in Satyaloka is so inconceivable, so then how inconceivable the planet Satyaloka itself? And here the inconceivability of that planet is described as it is beyond the words and beyond the imagination. Right? So these two attributes are mentioned about about this particular place. So we cannot describe. It is beyond our imagination and beyond our words. It is beyond any experience that we may have in this world. It's much much more than that. We cannot even by any permutation and combination. ऐसा हो सकता है, वैसा हो सकता है. कुछ नहीं कर सकते. So इसके लिए what is the logic that is used to describe this particular scenario? Any permutation of words or imagination cannot describe that particular object. इसका एक लॉजिक है, उसको बोलते हैं कूप मंडूक न्याय. Right? So like a frog in the well. Frog in the well is trying to imagine what is the Pacific Ocean or Atlantic Ocean, whatever it is. What is the ocean all about? And it is trying to describe, saying that कुछ तो बड़ा कोई देख के आए, तो कितना बड़ा है, like 10 times of this well, 100 times of this well, तो इसको वो कुआं ही पता है, वैसे ही calculate करता है, and he cannot begin to understand what is the ocean, and how much depth is there, and how much big this one is there. And he is telling, somebody is telling like big aquatics are there. ये जो fish है like इससे like 100 गुण बड़ा होगा like तो कुछ भी नहीं है so like that. So he cannot even imagine what is there in the ocean. So in the same way, like we cannot imagine what is there in the Brahma Loka or what is there in the Vaikuntha Loka. It is beyond our imagination. So that is why this famous Loka Pantastu Koti Satavatsara Sampragamyo Vayav Ratapi Manaso Muni Pungavanam. So like it is difficult even to imagine this one. It can actually we can understand these Brahma Loka or Vaikuntha Loka. What is the process of understanding? If we cannot speculate and understand, so what is the other way to understand? Scriptures. So basically revelation. Basically revelation. So without revelation by a higher authority, without revelation by the mercy of the Lord, it is not possible for us to gain. Right. So this is also one of the aspects we were describing in the like one of the main aspects of bhakti is prayer. And when will the prayer come? So prayer comes when, like for example, we want something and we know we cannot get it. So then the prayer comes. Beggar knows he wants money and he cannot take from your pocket. So then what he will do? Then, sir, please give me, sir, like nothing is there for me to eat. No, you give me little bit something. So like this condition is very, very essential for us to make prayer. Feeling prayers, prayers with feeling will come only when we have this condition. That I need to attend the Lord, but I cannot I cannot forcibly attend the Lord. I can only do devotional service and try to please Him, and the Lord has to reveal Himself to me, right? So that is this one. It is not that somebody has been very nicely educated, so he can understand the Lord. So he cannot understand the Lord. Somebody is physically very powerful, he can forcibly understand the Lord. No. So it is not like what is it, Shloka? Nayam Atma Bala Hine Na Labhyate Na Medaya Na Bahunashrutena, something like that. It comes like somebody who is very learned, vastly learned in Vedic scriptures, somebody who is like very, very intelligent, and somebody who is physically very strong. Any of these people cannot get the Lord. So only when He reveals out of His own sweet will, when He reveals Himself, that is when we will be able to understand. So when a person understands this, he will not compete with people who are very intelligent. Okay, like this person is intelligent, I will learn 2-3 more shlokas better than him, so then I'll be able to attract the Lord. No, it is not possible. So even if we can do a very small service, just like Aarti happens, and then we just take the Aarti, with humility and with lot of this one, that this is mercy of the Lord and I am not worthy of getting this respect, getting this mercy of the Lord. But the Lord is very merciful. He is offering this this one to me. Like that diya which is offered as an offering to the Lord, which is shown to me back, and I am able to take that mercy upon me. So if we can actually feel this much, I am not worthy to get this, like what all kind of sinful things I have done. So why should I even be able to getting this mercy? But like Krishna is very merciful and devotees are very merciful. So this much if he understands, like this is the heights of all knowledge, and he will, for such a person, the Lord will reveal Himself. And the knowledge means Krishna, and when Krishna reveals Himself, like what more is there to understand? So that is the ultimate thing that we need to get, right? So here we see that this indescribable, so whenever the topics of indescribable things come, so we understand it is by our physical endeavor, it is indescribable, unapproachable. But then when the Lord becomes merciful and He reveals, then we will be able to understand it. So, and that is the mercy of the Lord, right? So, and this is something like when something, it is very, very clearly mentioned, you don't have the quality or capacity to approach this thing, but still it is given to us. So when we get it, so we express our gratitude. So thank you. Like it is something like very, very nice that you have bestowed upon me. So I am very grateful to you, for this. So when we express this thing to the Lord, so then we will be able to sustain the remembrance of the Lord, sustain the revelation of the Lord. Right? So without gratitude, we cannot sustain the revelation of the Lord, and without prayer, we cannot get the revelation of the Lord only. So these two are very, very essential actually. Right? So then we see that Vedic literature describes that in Satyaloka there is no birth, death, old age or disease. So no, I just was explaining about this. We should not think that it is contradicting Bhagavad Gita. No, Ha Brahma Bhavana Loka Punaravartino Arjuna. So it is not contradicting Bhagavad Gita. So it is a different kind of birth, death, and it is specifically mentions about Punar Avartino. So like it is not a place where you can permanently reside. So it is in comparison to the lower planets, yeah, there is no birth, death, old age, and disease. But in comparison to Vaikuntha Loka, yeah, there is, there is birth and death. So there is like, at certain point in time, a person entered into Satyaloka, and after the long duration that is mentioned, he will be asked to leave that place, right? So in that way, the people below in the lower planetary system, they'll say, no, you don't have any birth, you don't have any death. No, that's how much they can see. But people from Vaikuntha Loka, they will say, this Mahavishnu's one breath period, this such a long period of time is exhausted because of the time variation. And you have to give up your position. So that is why devotees actually pray that Nacha Parameshtyam. I don't want even to become the Brahma who enjoys such a long life. What is the point? After enjoying such a long life, he has to change his position. So I want to go to such a position that I don't want to change, right? So I want to be the servant of the Lord. So therefore it has been described as avan manasa gochara. So avak manasa gochara. So which cannot be described by words or by the mind. So such is the position of the Satyaloka. And little more, this one is mentioned about. The Vedic literature thus describes the abode of Brahma as that which is situated many millions and billions of years away, light years or years, we can say. There is no lamentation, there is no old age, death, anxiety or influence of enemies. So with this I pause today's discussion. Any comments, questions you can take. Bill.
Maximum time we are telling God will be revealed himself. So for that we are telling as some surrender and for that anukulation. In what degree that we have to do so that can you tell?
So this is because it involves a person. We cannot say that this much if we do, we will be able to get the revelation of the Lord. So that is his personal choice. He executes that choice at every time. Like for example, Putana, she offered a little bit of surrender only, and then she did something, and she was given liberation, and it is very, very bewildering. How can such a person, who did not do much sadhana, she is getting that high position, and it is personal choice actually. So if it can be made into a system. Step 1, step 2, step 3, itna karenge to ye ho jayega. So then prayer will not come. So prayer comes when it is not possible for me and it is only by your mercy. So when we depend upon the mercy of the other person, so that is when the feeling prayer comes. Otherwise, prayer क्यों करना है? Step 1, step 2, step 3 कर लेंगे ना. तो उसके बाद मिल जाएगा. So इसका जाके पैर क्यों पड़ना है इसका? So हासन is हम जो करना है हक से हम मांगेंगे. So मिल जाएगा हमारा. So that is not possible actually. So but the Lord is very merciful. So Lord awards, but this quality is very, very essential. Because to understand the Lord as the Vibhu, He's the greatest, and we are the Anu, so small. And in actuality, if we analytically see, that Lord doesn't even need to give a personal attention to one of the creation that is there. Does Modi gives personal attention to all the citizens? No. He does, at an overall level, he does something. So, but the Lord gives personal attention. As Paramatma, he sits in the heart and he gives personal attention. So, that much he is actually doing. So, that's beyond imagination. That which we cannot even expect from an ordinary prime minister. This Supreme Lord is doing. Who is the this controller of all the creation and millions and trillions and so much uncountable living entities are there. And for everybody is giving personal attention, which is beyond imagination, beyond what we can ask for, right? So that much he is doing. So like we should also try to do offer the surrender from our part, right? And one thing that is mentioned is like what can be like a good uh, precedence is Mahajana Yenagata Svatanta. So what great Mahajans, what great devotees have did. So if we do that, so then Lord will become pleased with us, right? And what did they do? They did this only, So they did that aspect of having complete faith in the Lord, and know that Lord will definitely bestow mercy upon me at some time. No, not today, tomorrow. Sometime He will bestow mercy upon me, and anticipating that, I will perform my devotional service. So I will not ask like, no, कब तक आएगा? No, बताओ. एक महीना हो गया, 2 महीना हो गया, अब तक भगवान दिखा नहीं. कब तक बताओ? So it is not going to work like that. So the path followed by the great Mahajans have followed this path, that when they give up this word kab tak, then Bhagavan immediately comes. And when they say like when is he going to come? So then the Lord doesn't come at all, for them. Right? So that is the important thing. The step is that it is inconceivable step. Step is there, but it is inconceivable step. Right? So one of the slokas that is very nicely describes this one is Tattenu Kampa Susamikshamana Bunjana Evatmakritam Vipakam. So this shloka very nicely puts all the things necessary for attaining the Lord. So like a devotee, he is not complaining when there is so much difficulties that come. He is peaceful, he is patiently tolerating all of them. And then he is executing the devotional service. And then he is developing very intense attachment to the goal of attaining the Lord. But he is not demanding the Lord. It should happen now. Like that. So all these things, when a devotee becomes ornamented with all these qualities, then the Lord immediately becomes attracted. He immediately comes. Right? So that is the way of actually attracting the Lord. So sometimes the devotee actually demands immediate attention of the Lord. So that's okay. So but then overall outlook of the devotee is that he doesn't demand immediate attention of the Lord. Yes.
Yeah.
Your name?
This is basic question actually.
Your name?
Mahesh.
Mahesh. You regularly come here?
Last 1 week.
Oh, very nice. Yes.
Basic question it is, what is the benefit he is getting, Bhagavan, what is the benefit he is getting out of creating this universe, this work, this many lokas he created, this much work he done,
Mm-hmm.
and what is who we are actually, what is the purpose of we creating, and
We becoming created.
we are created. Only what he doing, what is he is getting any benefit of like a salary or anything, right? What is this? I can't understand.
So this is a much more, means a lot of explanation is needed. So if you attend our courses, like basic courses, so we will be able to understand these things nicely. So just to give you a brief answer, we see that one of the qualities of the Lord is that he is Atma Ramascha Manayo Nirgante Api Urukrama. So he's mentioned as Atma Rama. So he doesn't require an external support to become happy, right? So he can be blissful from within itself, right? So we require something, salary is required, or somebody has to give us some food, so much of external things are necessary. Somebody has to so many external things are necessary for us to become happy. Even one thing goes wrong, we become mood out and upset and things like that, right? So for the Lord, this problem is not there. So because he is Atma Rama, so that is one of his qualities. So he is completely satisfied from within, right? So then why does he actually want to create all these things? So one of the things that is mentioned is that the Lord's one quality is he is supreme enjoyer. He enjoys to the maximum capacity, right? Sat, Chit and Ananda. So these are the three qualities, which describes about the spiritual nature. And Lord being the ultimate spiritual entity, he has this Ananda, in maximum capacity. And to increase the bliss, he actually creates all the living entities. right? So he creates many, many living entities, and all of them, he has very nice, loving reciprocation with them, right? So that is what is the situation in the spiritual world. So, but when some of the living entities, they say, why you only have to be the prime enjoyer? Why not me be the center? No? Why not I become the center? So then the Lord says, okay, that is unnatural. No, the center is like the person who has created and the person who's ultimately the owner of everything. So he is the ultimate enjoyer. And when we become an assistant in the Lord's enjoyment, so then we also enjoy. That's the best enjoyment that we can have. So when the Lord is situated in his position as the enjoyer, he enjoys the best. And when we assist the Lord's enjoyment, we enjoy the best. So when we try to become the master, so when we try to imitate the position of the Lord, so then we become miserable. So, but how to educate this particular point? So then the Lord says, okay, fine, I'll create this material world for you. So there, you can forget me. There, though I have to arrange everything, so but I will arrange everything, but you will not be able to remember me, because if you remember me, I am the creator, I am the master of everything. How can you become the master? So it is not possible. So I will hide myself, by my illusion, I will hide myself, and you can actually try to exploit this material nature, and you can try to become the boss. And try and see like if it can be of any pleasure. So it is not at all of any pleasure. So like we have tried for millions of lifetimes, trying to control this world, trying to control people, trying to become big kings or masters and things like that. So it is not a matter of enjoyment actually. So then like when we are doing this thing, so like the Lord has created this illusion, we are not able to see him. So Lord's illusion is so powerful that it cannot be broken. And Lord has given the word that I give you the promise that you will not be able to remember me. So now, like after we get sufficiently frustrated, so how will we again go back to the spiritual world? How will we again remember the Lord and get into that like blissful engagement with the Lord? So for that the Lord sends the devotees into this world. And when the devotees come and they actually remind us that you see like you again petition to the Lord that you please take me back to the spiritual world again, the Lord will immediately fulfill. So that is the job of the devotees. They come and request the living entities that you have by your own will, you wanted to come to this material world and Lord has sanctioned it. Now if you request, again you will be able to go back. So please make this request. That's the preaching of all the saints who have walked in this earth. So this is the preaching that they have given, that please surrender to that Supreme. So he is ready to accept our surrender and ready to take us back to the Vaikuntha. So Lord's only job is to enjoy. He just simply have nice wonderful pastimes with his devotees and he enjoys. So that's the only thing that he does.
Like before getting, we are not there, right?
No, it is not that at certain date we are created. So we are always there, with the Lord. So this idea of manufacture date, expiry date comes from our experience in the material world. So it is not existing in the spiritual world. Spiritual world, everything is Shashvata. So nothing is created, destroyed. If it is created and destroyed, that will become material world. The duality of creation and destruction doesn't exist there.
Okay. In origin, actually, I am saying.
Origin, there is no point of, the whole concept of time exists only in the material world. There is no starting date. That's what I'm trying to tell you. There is no starting date and ending date.
First, God is there, is only is there, right? At least at the time we not there.
No, there is no time like that.
So
like Krishna tells in Bhagavad Gita, there is no time when you did not exist, where I did not exist, where all these people assembled, they did not exist. There is no time in the whole creation where we were not existing. We are always existing. So that's, you can go through the basic sessions, like that will give you a lot of clarity, in terms of, because we are trying to understand some different language now, iska ABCD signa, so then we will be able to have some this one. So now if I start with a proposition, then in the spiritual world, when we were created, what is the origin and things like that, that is a meaningless discussion, because there is no concept like that in that, over there in the spiritual world. So that is why like we should understand the basics of the spirituality, and then we can question also like why it is like that, why it is not like this. So there is a lot of philosophy behind it. So we need to understand it like logically and philosophically. So that is when it takes a lot of time to explain those concepts. So that's why I mentioned in brief. So when you attend our Gita course, so all these things will be systematically covered in them. Right? Okay. Hare Krishna. Nantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai.